In this video, we talk about some applications of the integral. Just let me start with an application from the equation of the position uh, of a particle which moves along a straight line. As you might remember from Calc 1, if the position of a particle at any time t is given by a function s of t. So s of t is the position function at time t. So, for instance, S of 5, and assuming that time is in terms of seconds, S of 5 means that after 5 seconds, where is the position of a particle on a straight line? As you know from Calc 1, the derivative of S or S prime is what? Is the velocity, is v of t. It is the velocity of the object or particle at time t. So if the equation of s of t is given, we can find velocity by differentiating that. And if I keep differentiating one more time, and this time I differentiate v, so I get v prime. The derivative of v prime is what? Acceleration, a of t. Or acceleration of the particle. These are the things that you have probably seen in Calc 1. Here we look at the converse. So the converse of this S prime is V, which means that the integral of V of t is S of t. The second one, V prime is A of t, meaning that the integral of A of t is V of t. So one application of the integral, in fact, is when the velocity or acceleration is given, we can find out the position function of the particle at any time t. Let's see an example. Let the velocity of a particle at any time be 3t squared plus 2t plus 1. So at time t, this is the equation of the velocity. Also, suppose we know that where is the position of the particle at time 0. Suppose at time 0 it is 5. Assuming that the time is in terms of seconds and the distance is in terms of feet, it means that at time 0 the object is 5 feet away from the origin that we have chosen on the straight line. So v of t is given, s at 0 is given. And the question is find the equation of s of t. I want to write an equation for s of t. From the previous slide, remember that the integral of v of t is s of t. So meaning that to find s of t, I just integrate v of t, which is 3t squared plus 2t plus 1 dt. This is a simple integral at the level of Calc 1. So you can see that what the antiderivative or the integral of the function is. For 3t squared, it is t cubed. For 2t, it is t squared. And integral of 1 or antiderivative of 1 is t. And plus c. So this is s of t equals t cubed plus t squared plus t plus c. But there is one little thing here that we should consider when solving this. Since s at 0 is given, we can find out what that c is. So s of 0, s of t is this equation, right? So s of 0 is 0 cubed plus 0 squared plus 0 plus c. This equals what? Equals 5. The problem gives us s of 0 equals 5. So this is 0, 0, 0. So c is just 5. Meaning that the answer is t cubed plus t squared plus t plus 5. Since that information is given that s at 0 is what, we are able to find out the constant value at the end of the answer. Let's see another example. Suppose acceleration is given. So let's a of t be 12t. Also, we know that at time 0, the velocity is 5, and at time 0, the position is at 10. So based on this information, I want to find two things. One, find v of t. As usual, please try this on your own before you watch the solution. Keep in mind that v of t is the integral of a of t, like here. So v of t is the integral of a of t. Let me just write a of t. A of t is given, it's 12t. This integral is quite simple, right? I can pull out 12, and antiderivative of t is t squared over 2. So pull out 12, and antiderivative of t is t squared over 2, and all plus c. 12 over 2 is 6. So on one hand, I know that v of t equals 6t squared plus c. Also, I have the information to find out what that c is. That information comes from here. I know that v at 0 is 5, but v at 0, if I work with this equation, means 6 times 0 squared plus c. This equals 5. 6 times z squared is just 0, so c is 5. Meaning that v of t is 6t squared plus 5. Part two of this example, let me write it on the next page, but part two of the same example, I want to find out what is S of t. Now I found V of t, but what is S of t? Again, remember that S of t, as we discussed here, is the integral of V of t. So for finding S of t, which is the integral of V of t, and in the previous part of this example, we already found what is V of t. V of t is 6t squared plus 5. So that's going to be the integral of 6t squared plus 5. Now we need to find this integral. So S of t equals the integral of 6t squared using the simple methods that you know from Calc 1 to t cubed. The integral of 5 is 5t, and it's an indefinite integral, so this is plus c. Do we have enough information to find out what c is? Let's see. S of 0 is 10. Yes, we have that information here. So S of 0 is 10. But before setting this equal to 10, remember that what we got for S of t is this equation. So 2 times 0 cubed plus 5 times 0 plus c equals 10. 0, 0, so c is 10. Meaning that the equation that we got for S of t is 2t cubed plus 5t plus 10. Okay, let's see another example. Please do this on your own. Let a of t be e to the power of t. And also we know that v at the 0 is 2 and s at the 0 is 4. Part 1, I want to find v of t. Okay, try this on your own before watching my solution. As you know, v of t is the integral of a of t. A of t is given is e to the t. Antiderivative of e to the t is e to the t and plus c. Can we find out what that plus c is? What that c is? Yes, because we have v of 0 is 2. So v at 0 is 2, but v at 0 means e to the 0 plus c. This must be equal to 2. What is c? C is not 2 because e to the power of 0 is 1, right? 1 plus c is 2, so c is 1. So v of t that we calculated here is going to be e to the power of t plus 1. Now, part 2, let me do it on the next page. For the same example, I want to find S of t. We already found the v of t, so I want to find s of t. We already found the v of t in the first part. I want to find s of t. So please try this on your own before watching my solution. So s of t is the integral of v of t, which is the integral of e to the t. We already found v of t in the previous part of this example. Antiderivative of e to the t is e to the t. Antiderivative of 1 is t. And since it's an indefinite integral, plus c. Can you tell me what c is? Knowing that we have s of 0 is 4. So s of 0 is 4. But what is f of 0? Meaning that e to the 0 plus 0 plus c. This is, as the problem gives the information, s of 0 is 4. So this equals 4. So what is c? E to the power of 0 is 1. This is nothing, 0. 1 plus c is 4, so c is 3, which tells us that e to the t plus 3 is the equation of s of t. So before seeing the next example, let me make a reminder, which is based on using substitution, that just as a reminder, using substitution, you know that if I have the integral of e to the power of 3x, do you remember using substitution, what was the final answer? It was 1/3 e to the power of 3x. If instead of that coefficient 3 in the exponent, I have 2, it's going to be 1/2 e to the power of 2x plus c. In general, I can have, again, I can use substitution to obtain the formula. If I have the integral of e to the power of kx dx, and k is a constant. Of course, it's not 0, but it can be any other constant, positive or negative. This is going to be 1 over k times e to the power of kx plus c. K cannot be 0 for this formula because here 1 over 0 will be undefined. But k could be any constant. Can you tell me, for instance, what is antiderivative of e to the power of minus x? E to the power of minus x, that's number multiplied by x is -1. So that coefficient becomes 1 over -1, which is -1, e to the power of minus x. So for all of these, the most general form for the integrals of the form of e to some constant times the variable is this formula, and other things that you see that are examples of that formula. But all of them are obtained based on the substitution. But why did I bring that up? Because that will be helpful for the next example. Let's see. And please try this on your own before you watch my solution. Suppose a of t is e to the power of minus t, and v of 0 is 3. S at 0 is minus 2. So a of t, the equation of a of t is given. V at 0 is 3, and s at 0 is negative 2. Part 1, find v of t. So please give yourself some time and try to obtain the equation for v of t. So we know that v of t is the integral of a of t, and a of t is given e to minus t. By the reminder that we had on the previous page, antiderivative of e to minus t is negative e to minus t, and then plus c. So how with the other piece of information, v of 0 equals 3, can you find out what this constant c is? So I know that the v at 0 means minus e to the power of minus 0 plus c. This equals 3. So I use the equation of v of t to calculate v at 0. E to the power of 0 is 1. So minus 1 plus c is 4. Therefore, I'm sorry, is 3. Excuse me. Minus 1 plus c is 3, meaning that c is 4. So v of t is minus e to the power of minus t plus 4. Now please find s of t. Now we have v of t, and find s of t. Find the equation of s of t. S of t is the integral of v of t, right? What was v of t? V of t was something that we found in the first part, right? So it is minus e to the power of minus t plus 4. To avoid any confusion, let me just do this integral step by step. The integral of minus e to minus t plus the dt plus the integral of 4 dt. We break this down into two integrals, the sum of two functions. The reason I do that because I have seen in the past that sometimes the students, when finding the integral of minus e to minus t, there is a risk of making mistake here. So first of all, here there is a negative coming out. So this becomes minus integral of e to minus t dt. Integral of 4 is just 4t, right? But for now, let me just keep the integral, and then in the next step, I'll write that. So integral of 4 dt. So by that reminder that we had here, we'll have minus, in that integral is minus e to minus t. So it is minus e to minus t. This double minus make a plus here. Antiderivative of 4 is 4t, and it's an indefinite integral plus c. So far I know that s of t is e to the power of minus t plus 4t plus c. How about c? What is c here? I know that s at 0 is minus 2. S at 0, which is in this equation e to the power of minus 0 plus 4 times 0 plus c is minus 2. E to the power of 0 is 1, so 1 plus, and 4 times 0 is 0. 1 plus c is minus 2. In other words, c is negative 3. So S of t is going to be e to minus t plus 4t minus 3.